to Ms. Ilana Gritzewsky.
Mr. President, members of the Security Council, ambassadors. Estoy hoy aquí.
I am here today, before you, not just to raise my voice, but also for those who are not able to be here today. Those who have still been kept hostage, or those who were brutally assassinated. My name is Ilana Gritzewsky. I was born in Mexico into a Jewish family, profoundly connected to Israel. My home was always full of traditions and customs linked to Israel. One of my memories of childhood is to understand the work undertaken by many international organizations such as the UN and UNICEF. When I was in school, we always proudly promoted the values that I had learned from the institutions. However, I'm now here, and I'm wondering, where were these organizations when I needed them most?
I made Aliyah to Israel by myself. That decision was driven from my need to feel safe. Safe in a country which is free of danger from delinquents and cartels. A country where I can feel connected to my people, its culture, and have a future. Leaving everything behind wasn't easy, but I knew I was on the right path. Near us, a kibbutz near the border with Gaza, I built a home with my partner, Matan Sangauker. Our life was simple, ordinary, full of plans. I owned a bakery, and later I was a manager of a greenhouse. Until October 7, shattered everything. At 6:30 in the morning, my life changed forever. That morning, Matan and I were sleeping at home, surrounded by everything we love. Within minutes, terror was upon us. We wake up to sirens, like every time before. Without imagining that this time, it was not just sirens. It was an attack by armed, funded, and violent terrorists who entered our home with intention to destroy everything dear to us. At first, we heard gunshots and shouting in Arabic, and immediately realized that hell was before us. We looked ourselves in the same room, Matan holding the door with all his might. Wael tried to calm our dog Nuni and keep him quiet, but we already know. They were going house to house in our kibbutz, near us, looking to kill, kidnap, and rape. It was our turn. They broke into my house, shooting in everything direction and breaking everything until Matan could no longer hold the door of the safe room. At that moment, we jumped out the window in an attempt to escape death. In that moment, I lost contact with Matan. I hid behind a cabinet on the back porch of my neighbors, Gadi and Judith's house. Gadi Haggai and Judith Weinstein Haggai, like so many others in Eros, were murdered on October 7, and their bodies were taken into Gaza. Slowly, I hear the sound of dry lives breaking and the shout of terrorists approaching. And then they grabbed me by my hair, hit me on the stomach, causing me lose my breath. They dragged me across the floor, lift me, and throw me against the wall. They put me guns at me, tried to fill me with my fun. I raised my hands, told them I was Mexican, begging them not to hurt me, not to rape me, not to shoot me. Just let me go. The only thing I could think was why my family have to see me end my life like this. The terrorists beat me, humiliate me, touched me all over, threw me on the motorcycle, and took me to Gaza. I saw Niros, the place where we built our life, turned to ash. On the way to Gaza, when they start to touch me and sexual abuse me, I passed out physically and mentally. I couldn't hold it anymore. I guess my body prefers to shut down. They keep beat me because for them I was a prize. I wake up in a some rain house, lying half naked on rocks, surrounded by Hamas terrorists. I had to beg not to be raped. I'm telling them I was on my period. At first, they didn't understand if I was on my period or I was pregnant, but nevertheless, that made them leave me alone. They threw me a hijab, a dress, at me, and ordered me to get dressed. I didn't know exactly what had been done to my body in those last minutes when I was in condition. But my soul already knew nothing will be ever the same. I was suffering for a fractured jaw, a broken pelvis, ear damage for explosion, and a burn leg. One of the first day, many people came to see me, to play main games. One of them fixated on me. He told me I would never leave, that I was beautiful, that we were going to marry and have children. Even if there is a deal, I will not be released. He handed me with his gun, told me to play with it, and stole all my jewelry. The next day, around noon, they brought me another hostage from Niros. That gave me strength. I realized I wasn't alone. We looked out for each other. After a week, our wars told us that the IDF is going to attack the house, so we need to move to a different place. I found myself walking through the Gaza streets, holding the terrorist's hand as if I were his wife. When we arrived at the other apartment, all of the neighbors came out to see the new prize. They knew exactly who we are. We stayed there for only one day and moved again. This time, they took us to a dirty house full with cockroaches. We slept on the floor with a thin mattress that wasn't a really mattress. We spent over 14 days there with barely any food, almost no water, constant psychological terror, no basic human humanitarian needs, such as medicine, showers, hygienic products. In 55 days in captivity, I lost 12 kilograms, which is around 24 pounds. They did not give me any medicines. No doctor came to see me, even though I told them that I was suffering from colitis and anemia. The terrorists dedicate everything, where we could talk, where we could go to the bathroom, when we could get up. They wake up us in the middle of the night for cruel interrogations. From the moment I was captured, the wars were with me all the time. They did not wear Hamas uniforms. They dressed like civilians. They told me that one of them is a math teacher and the other one is a lawyer. For 50 days, they made me sure I could not escape. They told us all the time that we would be hostage for 5 or even 10 years. When it was time to eat, they took a lot of food to their room that they have meat, rice, and vegetables. At the same time, they left us with our meal, which contained sometimes as little as 10 chickpeas or a piece of dry flat bread, which wasn't always well cooked. About 4 days before my release, someone knocked on the door. We wake up terrified, thinking we weren't going to be included in the deal. But they came to tell us we were going home. They changed our clothes, moved us, and prepared us to leave. But it was a lie. They transferred me to a hospital. Now I know it was the Nasser hospital. They look us through the back entrance and walk us past all the civilians. In the hospital, there was an area which was closed off and used only by Hamas. With an armored ward, they look us in a room where we meet the third hostage. The next morning, around 10 a.m., they told us again that we are going home. They moved us on another room and made me undress to check I have no surveillance device on me. Later, they briefed us, checked us, gave us supplies, and told us to get into a car waiting outside. But instead of taking us to freedom, they take us to a tunnel. There we see more hostages, some of whom were my friends from my kibbutz near us. I saw Eitan Oren and David Cunyo there, who still remain in Hasson Hamas. It was only then, in the tunnels, after more than 50 days, that I found out that my boyfriend Matan was also a hostage, just a short distance away, but I couldn't reach him. I begged to the terrorists to let me see him. They said later, and made me do different things, such as clean the kitchen to make me think that after that they will let me see him. Later, never came, and did not get to see Matan. The next day, they told me I was leaving. I refused. I wanted to see Matan. I knew that if I would leave, my soul will remain there in Gaza. But they didn't let me stay. So I left with a hole in my heart. I promised my friend I will do everything in my power to bring them home. And now I'm keeping that promise. People see my face and think I'm free. But freedom is not a switch you can turn on and off. Trauma doesn't vanish once you are released. Now, with every siren, every rocket for Iran, Yemen, or Gaza, I'm throwing back into the hell. The difference, I have a safe room. Matan doesn't. He is still in Gaza. You hear about what Hamas has done on October 7. Women were raped, abused, and humiliated, and the world chose silence. Why is our pain treated as less? Why our histories questioned, denied, erased? I am here not just for myself, but for every woman and man who didn't make it home, for every voice which was ignored, for the 50 hostages still in Gaza, for their families. I'm calling on human rights groups and everyone who claims to care, stand with us, speak up, demand the truth, because silence is betrayal. Matan, stay strong. Don't lose hope. Your mom, sister, our dog Nuni, and I are all waiting for you. También estoy aquí
I am also here. I am also here today as a Mexican woman, because that's where I was born, where the cartels kill and torture people. They call them as they are. Terrorists, criminals, delinquents. The world doesn't hesitate to condemn them. So that's why I wonder why Hamas, who burn children alive, rape women, and mutilate bodies, kidnap children and adults, why are they not condemned in the same way? Why is Hamas considered differently? Why is it not considered the terrorist group that it is? Why are Jewish victims questioned, and why are our accounts questioned when others are immediately believed? This is a double standard, and it's hypocritical. It's not just hypocrisy, it's betrayal.
of the Council. Do not turn away. Do not look for excuses. Do not allow political divisions to silence the voices of victims. Use your influence, your power, your responsibility to demand the unconditional release of every hostage. No tomorrow, not in some distant future, but now. We need to make a deal. People in Israel want this war to end. Bring them home. Bring Matan home. Bring all of them home. Only then I will be able to begin to heal. Only then can the hostages' families begin to heal. Only then we will begin to believe again in the values that the Council was created to uphold. Mr. President, Excellence, I was released after 55 days, but my soul remains in captivity with Matan and all the hostages. Until they return, no one of us truly free. Thank you so much.